Okay, I am live. It is time for our weekly Q&A, and let me see if we have any questions this week. I did see a couple of questions about blood pressure and magnesium. I did talk about blood pressure some last week, but we can talk about that this week as well. And then some questions about electrolytes and types of magnesium. And so I have to say, I'm not really a big fan about talking about different types of magnesium in a broad general thing like this. And so I'm assuming that there's a reason why you're asking. I saw there were some snapshots that you got from another social media source. And so I don't like to rely on social media sources. Now I am a social media person, you're listening to me, but I always want you to do your own due diligence, do your own research. We can't just go off of what someone else posted on the internet. I don't know who you were getting your information from. So there's so many reasons why people have blood pressure. And before we start saying you need electrolytes or you need magnesium, maybe we need to look at why there's high blood pressure. And so last week I talked about some different reasons why you would have high blood pressure. It could be you're dehydrated. It could be that simple. Maybe you don't need magnesium. Maybe you just aren't drinking enough water. We should drink at least half our body weight in water every day. And if you're drinking something caffeinated or alcohol, you need to increase your water because those are dehydrating. And so that is going to increase your water need. If you are working outside, which I think the person who posted this does work outside, maybe. I was thinking there's vegetable markets or something where you work. Maybe you're outside with the markets and in Texas. So that would be really, really hot, right? So then that would increase your water. If you are working out in the sun constantly, you need more water. Even in the wintertime when we're really cold, we don't realize that we're sweating. We don't feel the sweat. If you do a lot of swimming, you don't feel the sweat. We need lots of water when we do those types of things. And if you're training outside for long periods of time. Now, when it comes to electrolytes, I don't know why you need electrolytes unless you're eating a poor diet or there's some other thing going on. If you're sweating a lot, excess body fluids leaving your body, then you may need electrolytes. Otherwise, if you are a generally healthy person, you shouldn't need electrolytes if you're eating healthy foods. So it all comes down to the foods that you're eating. A lot of times we can be eating healthy foods, but they're grown in the wrong environment. So they're lacking in vitamins and minerals as well. So we have to boost them. That's why a lot of people juice. It's to get extra vitamins and minerals. Am I telling you to juice? No. But look at your own situation. If you smoke, then you may need more magnesium. That could be a really strong reason why you have high blood pressure. So no smoking. If you're around people who are smoking regularly, then that can raise your blood pressure. If you're working in an environment where you're smelling diesel fumes or things like that, that can raise your blood pressure. If you're under constant stress, that can raise your blood pressure, or just regular chronic stress. We need to make sure we're taking time out during the day. If you're not breathing correctly, that can raise your blood pressure. So these are all things where you don't need magnesium. It could be that you're breathing in your chest when you need to be breathing in your belly. So put your hand a couple of inches in front of your belly button, and when you breathe, your belly should be hitting your hand. And then you breathe out and it goes away from your hand. And you breathe back in, it hits your hand. We need to belly breathe. We need to bring lots of air in, really oxygenate the body. So some signs that you have a heart condition could be calf pain, muscle cramps, and then that can be related to magnesium. Is it always? Not necessarily. There could be other reasons why you're having muscle cramps. If you wake up in the middle of the night with a leg cramp, that could be a sign you need magnesium, but not necessarily. And I don't encourage people to just go out and take magnesium without other minerals and things, just all on their own, because that throws your balance off. If you have too much of one mineral, it's going to throw off the balance, and that can even affect the peristalsis, the contractions in your intestine. And so that can speed things up or slow things down if you have the wrong balance of minerals. And so I really don't want to recommend that someone take a mineral without other things. It could be swelling and edema. Edema can be related to the kidneys or the heart. That is a swelling like in the ankles, chest pain or tightness in the chest, a shortness of breath, making sure we're breathing through our belly, irregular breathing, fast breathing. I know my grandmother, she's 101, and when she starts walking or trying to move something, you can hear, and so she does have, she's 101, she does have some heart conditions, even though she's out and about active and doing whatever. Rapid breathing and confusion, red face for no reason. That could also be related to autoimmune condition or heart. So there's all of these, there's different things that could be connected to if it's a heart condition or something else. So first we have to make sure we're looking at the adrenals and stress, because like I said, if you're under a lot of stress, even chronic stress, maybe you're not even aware that you're under a lot of stress and you're not breathing, then cortisol comes out and all of that raises your blood pressure because your body wants everything to be constricted so you can run and get away and things like that. So that's just something we need to look at. Now, if you want to have blood work to assess all of your heart to see how your heart is doing, you can do that. Testing magnesium there's really not a really great test because we want to know how much magnesium is in your cells and your muscles, and a blood test isn't going to show us what's in the cells. It's just showing us what's in the serum. So if you want to find out about your heart, then it's a great idea to have a full cholesterol panel that shows the HDL and the LDL and your cholesterol to HDL ratio and your triglycerides. So triglycerides measures the fat in your blood and the sugar. So if you eat a lot of sugar, your triglycerides go up. Something else you can check is your CRP, or highly sensitive CRP is an even better marker to show if there's inflammation in the veins. Homocysteine, that is another marker that shows a risk for cardiovascular disease. So that's another one that is really great to have tested. And apolipoproteins, say that 5 times fast, A and B. So A is a good one, a good pattern to have, and B is not as good. And so those are different things that are good to look at. You can just have your doctor run a panel for you. You were asking more about magnesium. I wanted to look at, so I'm looking at the Linus Paulding Institute. That's a great place to look. So if you have a deficiency in magnesium, there are some different things you can look at. Number one, if you are deficient, then it's going to be related to other things as well. And it could be gastrointestinal disorders. If you're deficient, it could be related to not having enough minerals in your food, but it could also be from diarrhea, Crohn's, celiac, a malabsorption disorder, an autoimmune condition, a leaky gut. Maybe you're not absorbing the nutrients from your food. And so that could also lead, so that could be why you're not getting the magnesium. But if you're taking more magnesium, then you may be getting more, but you're still not helping that underlying condition. So we don't want to have to take magnesium. We want to get to the root cause. We want to do whatever type of repair needs to be going on. I can't use certain words in our body so that we can restore our health and feel better, and that lowers the blood pressure. So working on meditation, working on stress management, and working on increasing magnesium-rich foods. So other things that can be related to a magnesium deficiency are renal disorders, diabetes. Diabetes is a huge one. People who are on diuretics, that can cause a loss of magnesium, several endocrine disorders like diabetes. And so let's look at what foods, because I always recommend you get it from your foods, So definitely your leafy greens, those are always our best choices. I'm trying to find the list here. I know I have a list in here. Brazil nuts are high in magnesium, and I always recommend that people eat Brazil nuts, not too many, but a few, for selenium. It's very important for thyroid health. Brown rice is high in magnesium, spinach, almonds, Swiss chard. Now, all three of those are high in oxalates. So if you do have an oxalate condition, then you may want to watch those. Hopefully you have a good healthy microbiome and you don't have problems with oxalates. Lima beans, avocados, blackstrap molasses. Dr. Christopher recommends everyone have some blackstrap molasses every day. Now it's sweet, like honey. It is the byproduct when they make sugar. That's what they strip out of it. And so it's very nutrient rich. It doesn't spike blood sugar like honey. Now, if you do have diabetes or you're trying to get your blood sugar under control, then molasses is not the right choice for you. Maybe eating avocados would be a much better way for you to get your magnesium. Chickpeas, hazelnuts, and even bananas. But I always recommend your leafy greens. Your leafy greens are going to be high in all of your minerals, and that's going to help keep the mineral balanced in your body to help with all of your other conditions, because we don't think about all the different ways the body works together, the muscles work together, and things like that. We have to have all the different vitamins and minerals, and even vitamin D works with these minerals as well. And so we want to make sure that we're keeping everything in balance to keep all the muscles contracting the way they're supposed to. Your heart is a muscle, and so we want to make sure that it is getting all of the vitamins and minerals. We have an electrical system, which is related to the electrolytes. But once again, I only recommend electrolytes if you're training for many, many hours out in the sun. You have a lot of fluid loss, and you're eating a poor diet. Those are really the only reasons that I would have someone taking electrolytes, unless a blood panel shows that you do need electrolytes. As long as you're staying well hydrated and eating those nutrient dense foods, you shouldn't need electrolytes. Even if you're just going for, your regular 30-45-minute run each day, you shouldn't need electrolytes to make up for that. It's only when you're going longer than that. You're training for a marathon, you're training for an Ironman, then electrolytes would be something that you do need, because you're having a lot of fluid loss, especially if you're training this time of year. I'm recording in the summertime. Here is not as hot today, but I know in some areas around it is really hot. Getting ready to go travel to the middle of the country, and it's like 95 degrees, and I am not looking forward to that. So before I sign off, I want to make sure there wasn't something else. I was going to talk about some other things that can help with blood pressure. Number one is reducing, we don't want anything with added sugar. Processed grains, that is pastas. Pasta is a processed grain. Breads, unless you're making a nut or seed-based bread. If you're making, like I'll make a sprouted buckwheat bread or sprouted quinoa bread, that's different, but a store-bought processed bread, no. Store-bought fruit juices, no. Inflammatory foods, grilled meats, smoked meats, those are all going to raise blood pressure. Alcohol, trans and heated fats, anything with heated oils, caffeine. And then we have to make sure we're checking other things. Other things that can also raise blood pressure are thyroid dysfunction, adrenal stress, insulin resistance, diabetes, and fatty liver, all of those. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yes, so I have IBS-C and magnesium supplements helped. Yes, so magnesium is great for helping the bowels move. And so different forms, some forms of calcium help to regulate things. Some forms of magnesium help to speed things up. So a lot of people like to take magnesium at night because it is very calming, but then it can also help move things when you wake up in the morning. Then you go to the bathroom. If you have a thyroid condition, so hypothyroid slows everything down, including the digestive tract. And so a lot of people are constipated that have hypothyroid condition or Hashimoto's. And so magnesium at night can help with that. Am I recommending it? No, I am not licensed to recommend supplements, but that is something that you may want to consider or run by your healthcare provider. Do your own due diligence. Something else that can help are B vitamins. Looking at your B vitamins, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, vitamin B6 in the form of P5P or pyridoxine. That's a great one. When you look at folate or vitamin B9, think of foliage. Your greens are high in folate. What we hear all the time is folic acid. They recommend folic acid for pregnancy and pre-pregnancy, but that is a man-made form that can actually grow harmful cells. And so we want to grow cells really quickly when we're pregnant, but it's much better to have folate, which also helps with cell growth. We don't want to grow any cancerous cells in our body. We all have cancer cells in our body. They're in there, they're very minor. Our body knows how to manage them and keep them low and keep them from growing. But if we take the wrong form of certain supplements, then we may grow something we don't mean to grow. And so when you're looking at vitamin B9, folate is the form that you want to look for, not folic acid. So if you're eating a lot of processed foods or refined foods, you'll see where they have added supplements back to the product, because if they're looking at wheat, they strip all the vitamins and minerals from the wheat, and then they add back what vitamins and minerals they think that we all need, but they don't add all of them back. They're not in the right order, and they are man-made supplements. And so our body has to work really hard to get those nutrients. And unfortunately, that can cause damage and inflammation and cause wrong things to grow. So you want to make sure you're using your foods as much as possible, much more so than using supplements. And vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is also wonderful for helping with heart health. Vitamin C and vitamin E are both antioxidants that are also good for the heart. CoQ10 is one that is wonderful for the heart, but it's also depleted by statins. So if you are taking a statin, I believe that it is now, I think doctors tell you you need to take a CoQ10 supplement when you take your statin. But if you are taking statins, make sure you ask your doctor, can I take a CoQ10, and see what they say. And that would be a good thing to do. I'm not telling you to take it. I'm telling you to run that by your medical provider. EPA and DHA, those are omega-3 fatty acids. You can get those from flax seeds, walnuts, hemp seeds, chia seeds. Those are high in EPA and DHA. Now your body does have to convert them, but you can take chlorella or spirulina, and it's already converted for you. Some people use algae oil or eat cold water fatty fish. If you do that, make sure that you're getting fish from well-sourced areas, because fish are very high in mercury. And GLA, which borage oil, evening primrose oil, that's another one. Those are very high in GLA, which is a converted form. It's also wonderful for the heart. And then magnesium and zinc, which we've been talking about. Both of those are wonderful for our immune system and for heart health. But once again, I don't recommend that you just supplement with one thing. Find out why you have high blood pressure or what's going on. We want to repair that first, and then we can add these other things. You want to make sure you're getting plenty of protein. Amino acids that are specifically beneficial for the heart are arginine and carnitine. You can get those from foods or those derivatives from foods as well. Eating a well-balanced diet, using something like Chronometer, you can actually track and see how much protein you're getting each day. I usually try to aim for about 30 grams per meal, which actually kind of puts me over what is recommended. I do eat a gluten-free vegan diet, and usually with vegan, you do need to eat more protein. I have a great article about that up on my website at holisticgen.com if you want to read more about protein. N-acetylcysteine, or NAC. You can buy that over the counter. I like Seeking Health, but I'm not recommending any. I'm not licensed to do that, but that is an antioxidant that is wonderful to help with detoxification and heart health. And so those are some things that hopefully can help you. Some things that can help as far as herbs go. Hawthorn berry is my favorite. That is my go-to. I always have hawthorn berry here. My husband drinks it every night. He has relatives who we hear about, they seem healthy, and then someone finds them dead. There's a genetic condition in there, but there's also foods and other conditions related as well. So he's lost several cousins that way, and I think some uncles too. And so he drinks hawthorn berry quite regularly. You can buy hawthorn berry syrup. You can make your own. I buy the dried hawthorn berries and make tea and combine it with some other things like hibiscus tea and rooibos tea. They're all a little bitter to me. My husband loves them. Natto, I don't know if you saw my picture on my personal page. I'm making some chickpea natto. I made it last night. It didn't get gooey like natto looks like in the videos and pictures, so maybe it didn't ferment correctly. But if you can get natto, that is supposed to be really great for the heart. That is something that the Japanese, everyone in Japan, I believe, eats every morning for heart, not because it tastes good, but because they know that it is good for their heart. Ginger and garlic are very anti-inflammatory and good for the heart. Ginkgo biloba is wonderful for circulation and especially for the brain. Whenever you have heart conditions, there's usually a connection with the brain as well. Think of strokes and things like that. Turmeric, anti-inflammatory. Flaxseed, omega-3s. Oregano, which is great for so many different things. Getting plenty of fiber, and I already mentioned spirulina that help with the heart. Anyway, I hope that this has been helpful. Some other things are making sure you get moderate exercise, not overdoing it. don't smoke, reduce or eliminate alcohol if you can, working on stress management, grounding, walking outside barefoot, spending time in nature, eating a whole food, plant-based diet high in your greens is one of the best diets you can use for your heart and all conditions. Dr. Greger says, if it's when we know that it actually reverses heart disease, there are studies showing that a whole food plant-based diet can reverse heart disease. If you can do that for heart disease, then it should be recommended for everyone to eat, right? Getting plenty of sleep, good quality sleep, not eating before bed, making sure your blood sugar is staying in balance, and work on that belly breathing one. Deep breathing. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions for next week or any suggestions, something you would like for me to talk about next week, please let me know. I want to make sure that these sessions are beneficial for you. So have a fabulous week. I will see you soon.